Okay, so I don't know exactly how to explain this. Well, and we'll see how it goes. Um, I want to start off by saying I feel like it's like all about the acknowledgement. So, two, I guess, different situations. Like, um, how are we going to talk about this? I think about like when you drive a car and like somebody cuts you off or somebody makes a dumb move, and we're like, what an idiot. And then you like honk at them or you scream it at them, and then you end up being pissed off. The thing about it is like I noticed that when I go to Japan, I mean, first of all, there's people everywhere. Oftentimes you're in crowded places, you're walking around, you run into people, you bump into people. Um, I th- I think there's the potential for a lot of like, I don't want to say resentment, but there's a lot of like to have pent up frustration and want to like scream at somebody. But one thing I've noticed that Japanese people are really good at, and I want to say like much better than Americans, is that, and this is for many reasons, for cultural reasons, for there's many reasons why this is the case, and because their society or their daily life calls for it. But you're always running into people in Japan, bumping into people, hitting them, stepping on their shoe. You inconvenience so many people walking around in Japan, and it's not. Again, it's part of. It's just because when you put everybody into a room, that's just what's going to happen. But the thing I think that Japanese people handle so much better is that these little bumps, they shrug it off a lot better. Well, I never forget the first time I was in Japan. I was walking around. I'm literally just out of the airport, got off the bus, like looking around the neighborhood for the hotel with my mom and my brother and my sister, and I've got to kind of like lead the way. I had very little Japanese skill at the time, and but it's more than anyone else, and I had to kind of look around. And I remember I was carrying my baggage, I was looking for something, and boom, I step on this old Japanese man in front of me. I step on his shoe, and boop, he comes out of his shoe, like completely out of his shoe. He looks down, and I'm like expecting him to turn around and give me the stink eye and like be like, "What the fuck, dude?" That's exactly what I'm expecting, and he doesn't even turn around. He doesn't even turn around. He looks down, puts his foot back in his shoe, taps it twice, and then just hobbles on his way. Not even like, didn't even look at me at all. And I was so like absolutely like stunned by this, because I feel like in America, like, dude, the shit would have gone down if not some sort of altercation, but at least some sort of like, what's up, dude. And don't get me wrong, there's a bit of the like side-eyed, I've run into people and people have given me the side eye in Japan, like, oh, god damn it. They've given me the side eye before, but the thing is, I think it's immediately quashed by this thing that everybody does, and it's like, my bad, the little head nod with the little, sorry, come on inside, and with that, like, completely all melts away. And this is why I mean by the acknowledgement, is because that happens for me, going out in a day in Tokyo. That probably happens to me like 10 or 20 times in a single day. I will do the little, my bad, like, so many times. People do it to me, and the people who don't do it are the ones that you end up being pissed at and like annoyed at, and like it sits with you longer. And I think part of it is like, culturally, I think because Japanese people deal with it on such a daily basis of running into people, I think there's less of like a problem doing that, right? And I think Japanese culture, it's a little bit better to be respectful. Like, it's more encouraged to be respectful and be like, like bow down, or it's. So I think part of it is a cultural thing. Like Americans, I feel like it's always about like never saying you're sorry, like the machismo of like being an American, and you can't ever be wrong. God forbid you ever apologize for anything. we'd rather double down on it than, if he's mad at me, well, fuck him. I don't have to be friends with him. And I feel like I dealt with that so much in America, growing up, even now, but like in Japan, like I don't know. I don't think it's easy to apologize in Japan either. Like, I think there's a cultural thing where, you can't. Some things are okay to apologize about, but some things you also have to, like, you can't apologize. Like, real bad things. Like, you kind of just want to sweep under the rug in Japan and, like, oh, pretend that never happened. But, yeah, specifically with, like just these daily, like, Japanese people, I feel like, are so great at. And maybe they don't let it go. Maybe they hold on to it and go home and keep a grudge. But I think it's one of those things where, like, I feel like in America, like, let's say you were walking and then there'd be somebody in your way and you'd walk up to the person. In Japan, they're just like, oh, this guy's in my way. It's an inconvenience. And they just go around it. They're just like, all right, whatever. Fuck. And just go around it. But I feel like in America, if you're walking and somebody gets in your way, they're like, what the fuck? Why are you in my way? Why are you trying to block me? Why are you trying to keep me from my success? And I'm like, dude, I feel like Americans make such a big deal about, like, the most trivial things, like things that are, like, you shouldn't even spend more than, like, 2 seconds thinking about it. Your life has already moved on, but you're making it a bigger deal. Like, it's some sort of, like you have to fight a revolution every time there's any sort of, like something that gets in your way. And so going back to the thing where I was talking about with cars, I feel like people get road rage, or, like, with cars, in cars you get a lot more frustrated because there's not that, like, that chance for acknowledgement. Like, sometimes, like, I'll be driving and I'll, like, I'll turn into a lane, change lanes, and somebody will be there that I didn't think was there, and they'll honk at me. And I'm sure that, like, and I'm like, fuck you, dude. And then he's probably in his car, or he or she's in their car, like, fuck you. But I feel like if there was, like, some sort of acknowledgement, like, oh, my bad, sorry, they would be like, oh, okay, well, he just made a mistake. He wasn't, like, a complete idiot who has no clue what he's doing and should never drive again. Because, like, I feel like that's how we feel when we drive. When somebody cuts us off or makes a mistake, they're like, what an idiot. He shouldn't be driving at all. But again, it's just a small little, most likely it's just a small little inconsiderate thing, or just like a mistake that people make, and it gets blown up into this huge, like, assuming all these other things. And it's all because there's no communication. Because you got to remember, in cars, there's, like, you're basically in your bubble and they're in their bubble, and you don't hear each other, you don't say anything to each other, and you just, like, you're kind of trying to communicate, but you can't, right? Like, I've always thought about, like, what if you had, like, different horns, or, like, a way to, like, boop, like, pop up a message on the back screen of your car, like, my bad, didn't see you there, sorry, buddy, Like, then people would be like, oh, okay, well, he's not a total asshole, he's just, there's no communication in cars. I think that's why there's, like, super road rage and super, because you're in your bubble, they're in their bubble, you already think each other of things, and by the time, like, it gets to that point and you park your cars on the side, when you get out, you're like, oh, we're going in for it, I don't know anything about this guy, I have no clue, but we're gonna yell at each other. Anyways, I don't know if that video made sense, but it's just something that I'm reminded of whenever I come to Japan, and when I drive around in America. So hope you guys got something out of it. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.